Welcome to part 3 of our live training session here with our LS swapped Nova. Now in the last video we learned how to get the engine to fire up and run and hold and maintain its own idle. This video we're going to be turning our attention into doing part throttle tuning, so this is where you spend the majority of your time while you're driving. So we're going to learn both fuel and spark timing calibration techniques. We're also going to be taking a look at our injection end angle, which is going to be where we spray the fuel in relation to our idle cycle. We're going to try to pick up a little bit of fuel economy and throttle response by tweaking the table for that specific task. So we're gonna have a lot to cover. Let's jump into our video so we can get started. Welcome back to our live training session here with our LS swapped Nova. In our last video, we learned how to get the engine to fire up and run and hold its own idle. Now we're ready to focus our attention on doing the part throttle cruise area calibration process for both fuel and spark timing. Now we're going to be using our closed loop correction to help guide us in making or update changes into our fuel table. And in fact, we're actually going to implement the long-term fuel correction to be able to go in and populate the learn table. We'll talk about that in here in just a few minutes. Let's actually jump into both the fuel and spark timing tables and look at what we have, what we're working with, and what we're going to be doing and accomplishing in this video. So what I have open here in my fuel tab is going to be here in my fuel ICF is going to be my fuel main VE table. This table has already been set up and calibrated at idle conditions in that last video. We found we hovered around 40% volumetric efficiency in the idle. We've sorted out the injector flow rate. We've also went into the injector off time or the latency to be able to get that sorted out so that we have a correct fuel and airflow model. So at idle, the closed loop correction was making very minimal adjustments, 2, 3, 4%. We know that's all nailed down. And now we're ready to focus off idle. So essentially everything here from 1300 RPM and higher in our table here, and from 70 kPa and below. This is what we want to focus on in calibrating in this tutorial. So the table here, we've shrunk this down into the small version or the low resolution version of the table. We can go into the large version and expand this out. I'm not going to do that because it simplifies the process. We have less cell points and less data points to hit here. If you expand it out to the large table, there's more data points to hit. That doesn't really give us any huge advantages of doing any actual calibration and tuning. So for right now, I'm going to leave it on this smaller, lower resolution table and populate everything out as needed here. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. So looking at this, we need to focus on these values here. Now we put some guesstimates in terms of the volumetric efficiency in the actual table here. So in the peak torque of where I'm estimating peak torque to occur on this LS engine, 4 to 5,000, this range here, we have our highest volumetric efficiency values in the table. As we're going above that, we see that the VE values are dropping down because the torque is probably going to be rolling off. And then as we go here from off idle and we go higher, we see that the volumetric efficiency values are actually increasing because the torque should start to increase as we get up towards closer to peak torque, to maximum, into the actual maximum torque area production out of the engine. So we're finding the table has this ascending, descending type of shape. As we go here from low load to high load, we also find that the estimation of the airflow coming into the actual engine from the table here, this is an estimation of airflow, this is going to be ascending as well. So we're seeing here as we move up in load, as we move up in our map pressure registration, that means that we're opening our throttle plate more and we're moving more air into the engine, and as such, we're representing that here in the table. Our job here is to calibrate this table in the part throttle conditions to be able to meet what we've programmed in our target air fuel table. So looking here from 1300 to 3500, we're asking for the engine to run at 14.7 air fuel. What we're going to do here is calibrate our VE numbers here, the estimation of the airflow, so that we're hitting that target air fuel. Once we're hitting the target air fuel with our airflow estimation, that means that our fuel and airflow modeling is going to be in line with each other, and we've calibrated and tuned the main VE table. So our job is going to be paying attention to looking at the correction from our actual closed loop correction parameters and what that's doing and how it's going in and building out both the short and the long-term data for the actual fuel trims. We're going to look at that. We're going to talk about that here in just 1 minute. Let's move into taking a look at our spark timing table. We jump into our base spark timing table. This table, we've set this up so that at idle, we know 18 degrees seem to be about the sweet spot for our spark timing. I didn't vary it past that. 18, 20 degrees works pretty well for a mild camshaft. Now, off idle, we're finding that our values here at roughly 20 degrees. This is a good starting point for any engine for a reasonable, safe spark timing amount. I've purposely chosen 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees would be sufficient here, so that I can tune my main VE fuel table so that... Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.